This is part 2 of the paragraph writing. Now what I've done here is I put the question and the skill writing side by side with the content. So it makes it a little bit easier to work with. So we're going to be looking at the privileged classes exploiting and undermining the third estate. And here you will find the third estate listed, the middle class, working class, and peasants on the left-hand side. Now you have to be selective about your information, but let's go back to the topic sentence. The topic sentence should refer to the three estates. In other words, you should start your sentence by saying the third estate were made up of the middle class, the working class, and peasants, who were the disadvantaged people in France, and they made up 80% of the population, just as an example. You could also go directly into the question by saying that the three groups of the third estate, the middle, working class, and peasants, were undermined and exploited by members of the third estate. That would be an absolutely accurate start to your paragraph because you're referring directly to the question. So to continue, be selective about your information because they do tell you, if you look at this here, they say, provide evidence for what you are saying on the right-hand page. And the evidence is the backup or the information. Now, if you look at the middle class, in what way did the upper classes frustrate them or anger them? And how were they disadvantaged by the actions of the upper classes? Now, the second point here is relevant. And if you summarize this, you will find that the middle class were the ones who were unable to get into high positions in the government. They were denied high positions in the government because the first and second estates refused to allow them positions, although they were highly educated, as stated here. They were highly educated and they were pretty wealthy. But because they were members of the third estate, they could not get titles and positions in the government like the nobility. If you look at the working class, their frustration was largely that they worked for the upper classes, but they were overworked and underpaid. Now, interestingly, with the working class, they were not just disadvantaged or exploited by the first two estates, the privileged classes. They were disadvantaged and exploited also by the middle class, who were often their employers. So you can make that point as well. Now, the bulk of your paragraph should be about the peasants, and it should relate to how the noblemen abused or exploited the peasants. Very importantly for paragraph writing, you are not allowed to use bullets like you see here for paragraph writing. Each one must be a sentence. So your paragraph will refer mainly to the grievances or the complaints of the peasant class in France before the revolution started. Because if you look at this here, the word exploited and undermined, and of the three groups referred to, the middle, working class, and peasants, it was the peasants who lived on the land of the nobles that were most taken advantage of. Remember to phrase the sentences in words you understand. Because when you write in the exams, you are not going to be able to remember every word that was given to you in the content. So you rewrite using phrases you understand. Again, I am highlighting that the bulk of your paragraph should be made up of the grievances or the complaints of the peasants. How did the nobility take advantage of them? And you're looking here largely at taxes that they had to pay. Remember too, they also pay taxes to the church, which you may not find here, but in other parts of the notes, you should include that as well. You should have a concluding sentence that's short, but referring to the question again. And your concluding sentence should tie up all the information that you have included, which refers to then the abuse and exploitation and undermining of the members of the third estate. That then concludes essay writing on the causes of the French Revolution.